So I would like to welcome onto the stage Joe Rasmussen of the Copenhagen Metro.
Well, thank you, Stephanie. I will start by saying that our world cities are at a crossroad. While cities only occupy 3% of the Earth's land, over 50% of the world's population actually live in cities. And this is expected to continue, with the urban population more than doubling its current size by 2050, meaning 7 out of 10 people will live in cities in a little over 2 decades from now. We are entering a tipping point, not only considering the need for affordable housing, but also for public service our growing urban population will come to rely on. In 2022, only half of our urban population had access to public transportation. And we cannot imagine that this is improving anytime soon. While the outcome may seem dire, this is actually a massive opportunity for cities as well as businesses. Cities today account for 60 to 80% of the energy consumption and 75% of the carbon emission. So how can we actually turn this waste into an opportunity? Cities today are global economic engines. They represent responsible for 80% of the global GDP. They represent a major opportunity to accelerate progress toward climate goals. The city of Copenhagen has long realized the social economic benefit of investment in sustainability for its infrastructure. Its goal is to become the first carbon-neutral capital city in the world. Since 2005, we have reduced the total city emission with 42% and made a 24% increase in our growth. But we still have a long way to go. With the increased urbanization, the population of Copenhagen is expected to grow with 20% within the next decade, highlighting the continued need for public infrastructure. The city is in the process of developing old industry areas for commercial and housing, and also creating a new island to match the need for our future population. To support these new initiatives and development projects, we are creating a new metro line, and that's called the M5 Metro Line, and it has an incredible ambitious goal, and that is to reduce our climate footprint with 50% on this project compared to our previous lines. And to build this sustainable metro of tomorrow, we cannot rely on ways of yesterday. We have hard work cut out for us. And if you also are trying to achieve new sustainable goals for your organization, I'm also sure that you have your work cut out for you too. Because the goals may be set in stone, but the road towards the goal will change. Our approach is to walk with baby steps. And today I will share with you how we have been doing just that. To look forward, we need to look back. So let's go back to the year 2019. We have just opened our M3 Metro line, the Copenhagen's largest infrastructure project in the last 500 years. We were hailed by the press for this world-class infrastructure, a thing of beauty. And with this acclaim, it was easy to revert to what we know and works. So why should we change? Well, the truth is that we were actually years behind because we were still working according to the old tender that we did in the early 2000s, meaning that we actually relied a lot on pen and paper. Our process was that we would actually print out the 2D drawing, mark it up, scan it in, and send it to our contractor. And we could see that we were working old-fashioned now because all our collaboration partners were using new technology. And it not only providing them with an advantage, but it also meant that we were stuck in old habits which could cause slow decision, delays, extra cost, and claims. So we needed to change because otherwise we will never be able to fulfill our ambitious goals. Understanding where we were enabled us to set the goals of where we wanted and needed to be. In 2019, we created our assist and to be analysis. Our goal is to become an innovative and digitalized organization focusing on the necessary elements first. Our goal is also to foster an environment leading to sustainability, innovation, modernization, and remaining relevant in an ever-changing world. The truth is, realizing that you need to make a big change like this can be hard to accept for any organization or team. How many of you have been completely overwhelmed by change that you knew you needed to make? No organization can make a change like this at once, but instead of thinking about how you can do everything to start with, it's important to break it down about how you're actually going to get there, walking one small step at a time. We all know that the state of design and make is changing fast, but understanding where we want to go and being ready to take on that change, step by step, is critical to get where we want to be. But mapping out the change is one thing, but knowing where to begin is the most challenging part. My more than 25 years of experience in the construction industry tells me that we always need to start with the foundation. And the foundation needs to be strong and solid, otherwise we cannot build on top of it. And of course, a foundation in a metro construction is important, but having a structure in a metro project is essential to succeed. And we discovered a certain type of structure which is equally essential to planning or designing a project efficiently, and especially one with lofty goals. And that structure is data standard. Because if you don't have standard, you cannot build anything else. It would be like sending a rocket to the moon, but without knowing its direction. For the entire project, we knew we had to set the data structure for our design before we could innovate or meet our goals. And this is also why we moved towards BIM and open standard and updated our classification system. So this will be our foundation for our data, models, and assets. And this will help us to build more efficiently, but also collaborate better with our consultants, contractors, client advisors to achieve new levels of sustainability and better project outcomes. And it's important to find the right structure that works for you, especially on the long run. For us, it was BIM and open standard, but it was also about the ease of use. For instance, think about who your end users are actually going to be. For us, it's not necessarily a BIM or GIS specialist. It will actually be our everyday users like engineers, worksite managers, construction managers, who actually will create data inside our system. So no matter what structure you're trying to create, prioritize the ease of use above all, and think about who will actually create data inside your systems. Otherwise, getting structured data will be incredibly challenging. And with such an ambitious project like the M5, we need structured data because we need to meet the ambition for technology and innovation. And we also need it when we're actually creating the innovation and digital solution to establish the climate footprint. And we cannot only do that for the design, we also need to keep the end in mind, so it's also the construction and the operation phase as well. So we should try to put our main goal in perspective one more time. We need to reduce the climate footprint with 50% on this project compared to our previous lines. And this goal is actually a very attractive result of behavior change. For instance, to achieve our goal, we need to look into the alternative for steel and concrete due to its climate impact. And the behavior that we actually are shifting to is moving away from what we call the normal materials, and instead of using alternatives like timber or other material use. And indeed, this is very exciting, but these innovations alone are not transformation. When behavior actually changes, this is when transformation occurs. But before we even can build with new materials, we need to change the behavior around how we design. To build for tomorrow, we cannot rely on behavior from yesterday. We need to make decisions based on data, and we need to do that from the beginning. And this data will actually help us selecting and analyzing the alternatives to steel and concrete. One of the behavior that we also are changing is actually we're going to use the model to give us the picture for illustrate the picture like you can see here. Because if we go back one more time to 2019, this was actually been in 2D. And then you actually needed to imagine how would that actually look in 3D. And my guess is there will be a difference between the picture that you create in your head and the one I have in my head. And that's due to our knowledge areas, our experience, etc. So our shift to model-based behavior is actually using the model to create that image and ultimately using the data to inform decisions. And if we put that one more time in perspective, did any of you actually use Google Maps this week or similar products? Please raise your hand. Super. Then you're actually already using data to inform decision because you know how much time it actually takes for you to go from the hotel. You know which route you need to take, or is there actually an alternative one? And this is actually the way that you're actually making decisions based on data. And with our model-based behavior for our metro project, we are able to discuss issue, solution, create decision based on data. And this will help us create safer work environment for our workers on site, but also understanding the impact of using timber instead of steel. So just think about the behavior you actually could change with data. Because we cannot build sustainable metro of tomorrow using ways of yesterday. The state of design and make is changing in some incredible ways, and it has to. But it doesn't mean that we need to fear the unknown or be overwhelmed by the change. I've shared my story with you today, and I'm guessing we started behind or maybe similar to where you are today, but yet we are on the right track to meet our ambitious goals and create another world-class project. So just think about what you, your team, your business or organization could do if you got started today. Thank you.